Welcome to Uranus and Gemini, where humanity is being charged with rewilding the Uranian utopia. And it's a tall order to fill. And Gemini, you're leading this charge. So I'm sure you're feeling the intensity of the shift that occurred when Uranus went into your sign for this little preview of what's to come on July 7th. You're going to be hosting the planet that is known as Quite a Maverick until November 8th, when it will return into Taurus to finish up its stint there, where it will finally wrap up that journey on the 26th of April and find its home back in your third house of communication all the way through for the next 7 years. So there's quite a road before all of us collectively here with this shift of Uranus into Gemini, but certainly Gemini, you're going to feel it personally. And the last time I left off with Gemini Sun natives was for your solar return read. And when we dove into that energy, we went into a lot of real deep stuff. We talked about a lot of more spiritually oriented matters, and we left off with this piece of you're about to go on somewhat of a visionary quest, and we were going to look into some mundane matters, but since then, nothing has been mundane, nothing has been ordinary. And as I dropped into your energy, I realized it really is a collective energy right now. And where everybody is feeling so challenged is to be able to have a sense of normalcy with everything that is rolling out. And in fact, Uranus demands that we embrace what is coming to light now, that nothing is ever going to be normal again. And that this is something that should be celebrated, because what's been the status quo has been something that's needed to be exposed for quite a long time. This is the road to healing, but first it requires truth telling. Gemini, your energy coming out here pretty strongly along with your fellow air signs of Libra and Aquarius. Of course, we have Pluto in Aquarius right now, so that is bringing quite a revolutionary energy. We're all going through the evolutionary growing pains of having to navigate a way through some pretty tricky territory where there's been a lot of lies sowed. Okay, so we need to cut through the BS. And with that Libra energy here, it's all about bringing about a sense of justice, a sense of balance. And there's been too much that's been concealed, too much that's been in the dark. So as all this stuff starts to bubble up to the surface and come to light, it can be shocking, it can be jarring, it can make people feel quite destabilized. And so certainly Gemini, with you hosting this transit and just getting a little preview of it right now, make note of what you're feeling right now, because it's giving you a little bit of a glimpse of the energy that you're going to be moving with for 7 years forward as the point of no return, you could say, to anything that resembled anything you've considered normal. Okay, so you're starting to get a feel for this energy coming into play. And when we're looking at Uranus and Gemini, we're looking at a lot of things shifting in relation to communication, certainly technologically, but it goes beyond that, because it also requires us to connect with others in a new way. And the way that we're being asked to connect with others is with a certain level of transparency. And so that first requires that certain information that's been buried or that's been concealed must come to light. And that's quite challenging. There's a lot of truth being exposed right now, so we can cut through these illusions. But I'll take a stab at it, okay? I'm going to take a stab at it, Gemini. And we're first going to pull out some tarot here, and we're going to look at what you may expect on sort of a more mundane or practical level, you could say, will be what you're experiencing over this next year as you prepare to be the host of Uranus for quite a stretch there, a long haul. You may feel like it's 7 years of bad luck because of the unpredictability it brings, and yet there's something here about really reclaiming the feral nature, right? We need to get back to that state of rewilding. We need to take back the wild and free places. And that's not just within the world, but within ourselves. So I do feel like on a practical level, you're probably going to feel the call of the wild more. You're going to feel the call of open roads. You're going to feel the call of the land itself. You're going to want to drop in. You're going to want to disconnect from technology. Even as there's expansion in technology, you're going to want to return to simpler times. You're going to want to touch the earth. You're going to want to remember your source, where we all return when things are done at the end of this life that we have to live. We all return back to dust, and from stardust we were born, and so the circle of life continues. The cicadas have been really active, and cicadas speak of those cycles of life, death, rebirth. And what we're experiencing right now with this Uranus energy in Gemini is that initial shakeup where we're seeing things as they are. And a lot of people are just starting to wake up. There are those of you who have been aware of, what's really running the show for a long time. And then there's others that are just starting to come on board with this, and it's disruptive for them. It's destabilizing for them. And so there can be a lot of challenges in your connections. There can be a lot of challenges in your day-to-day interactions. And that's because people are scared. People are scared. People don't know what the future holds. People are feeling the weight of uncertainty. And there's so much that is spun out there through media that is fear-based, that it can create kind of a challenging climate to just, experience any sense of what you consider routine or normalcy in your life. But all of these sort of ideas about routine and normalcy, they're all going through revision right now. And a lot of what's considered normal is simply programming that keeps things very contained and very much in line and very much in control, and all of that's being shaken up right now. So please give everybody a little space, a little grace to be human, to have this human experience, to be in that place where they're not sure what's up ahead. And they may be a little short fused at this time. You try to keep your focus on healing, right? Keep your focus on maintaining the balance the best you can. And where you do get it a little off mark, give yourself the freedom to be okay with that, all right? That's all any of us can do right now, is the best that we can. So let's just see. I'm going to open up with this, all right, Gemini? We're going to go ahead and open up with this and see how might you be impacted by this. But certainly this really is a collective reading because it's such a big shared experience at this time with Uranus and Gemini. And it does sort of highlight what's up ahead for us in 2026, going 7 years forward into the future. So let's just go ahead and bring us all in here, okay? Let's bring all the signs in here, certainly understanding that Gemini, you're really going to be impacted by this. So those of you that do have strong Gemini placements in your chart, check out what house it's in. Can give you a clue about where you're really going to be feeling this shakeup, where you're really going to be feeling this call to rewild those spaces, those places in your life. Reclaim them. Okay, there's something so deeply meaningful on offer here, despite the disruption, and it is high time for it. And growth is uncomfortable. And this is something that we need to be aware of. But just as the cicadas live within the trees, there's a strength that we can gain during these cycles through tapping our roots and learning from the wisdom of trees that can withstand the winds of change, that know how to bend with these changes rather than try to push back up against them. Remember, a fixed hand is a losing hand. You have to have the ability to have this sort of mutable quality right now to be able to navigate this territory. And that's already hinted at with Pisces being up in the North Node, 1033 on the clock. Yes, that communication coming in is being very foundational, building block for the future, being able to communicate in new ways. And what is innovative? What is out of the box when it comes to communication? Transparency. Because there's been so much that's been hidden. So a lot of disruption coming there, but also a lot of opportunity for healing that will later be the foundation of celebration if we collectively play our cards right. 11:07. Okay? Bottom of the deck. You see, there is a way through. But first, before we see that way through, before we can see that stargate on the horizon, there does need to be the leaving behind of false power structures that have been corrupted here. Okay? So there's something that you will be leaving behind to move forward here. And it's the beginning of your healing journey. And I never noticed this before. I just noticed this with the Three of Cups. There's this pumpkin here. And pumpkins speak of that process of transfiguration, transmutation, you know. It may seem that everything is sort of, how can I put this? It may seem business as usual, right? I mean, we've known that there's corruption in the world. I think everybody is aware of that. I think that there's a lot of people waking up to the reality of just how deep that rabbit hole goes, though. And that's what can be quite destabilizing. Also, recognizing that a lot of this is out of our hands as long as we continue to play within the current framework, that it's only through dismantling that framework and figuring out a new way to bring our energies together that there can be a shift, that this transformation can occur. And yet within that destabilization and that awakening moment, there is this magic. There is. There's that magic there. There is the potential for that pumpkin to become a stagecoach that takes us to the ball, where we all get to have this moment of celebration together. And that's really the arrival point of the age of Aquarius, okay? But first, the work at hand. And that may mean that we have to deal with some harsh realities, even as we try to cling to fantasies. Yes, you see, this is the opening of the hero's journey. It's when the fool takes the risk to believe in the dawning of a new day and sets forward, traveling light, because not much from the old way can come forward with us. And to have caution at this time, it's more of a limiting force than it is a force that will propel us forward. We have Aries, Aquarian energy here. And there's been a lot of action going down in Aries. So this is something that you're going to feel personally. It's how you see yourself. It's how you see your place in the world, the role that you have to play, others that you are building that world with, others you're connecting with. And a lot of you are going to want to go out there. And you're going to want to connect with new people, places, things. You want to have new ideas, new ways of seeing the world, new ways of understanding. And there we are. There you are, Gemini. It's the crossroads. And within the crossroads, there's the opportunity for self-knowledge. And with self-knowledge comes awareness of the power we hold. And I have to say, despite all of the things that are being revealed right now that are shocking to some and confirming for many of us, okay, there is something here that is happening in the middle of everything that is coming undone that is a beautiful sign of hope for how things can come together. And that's that despite party lines, despite personal beliefs, despite the current political structure and what side of the fence you may be on, within the United States, people are finding a sole reason to come together. And this is around protecting the innocent and holding those who corrupt what is innocent and pure accountable. And that there is something I've been talking about on this channel since I started this channel, that we need to focus more on those connecting points than we do need to focus on ways that we differ or ways that our views are different. Because where you find a connecting point, that's a bridge. That's a bridge to the future. And that is a uranium bridge. Because the whole system and the way it's established is based on the divisory agenda. And as soon as we get beyond that and we bridge that gap, then we're able to make a bridge from our head to our heart. The Sioux call that the longest journey you will ever take, but it is what leads you home to what matters at the end of the day. And amidst everything that is so ugly and sinister that is coming to light at this time, if you read the room, if you pay attention to the conversations that are going down online right now, you will see that there's a lot to hope for too, because people are starting to recognize this too. People are starting to go, wait a minute, despite what you and I may believe politically or what side of the fence we may be on, we can agree on this. And that's like a rallying cry, all right? Now me, you know my position. I mean, not all of you do. Some of you are new to the channel, and those of you that are new to the channel, I welcome you. But I've never bought into this whole system. It's always been an illusion to me, all right? And I've felt like that my whole life. And I grew up in a family where that was something that I was already aware of from pretty much the time I came into this world. So I've never bought into this system of things. And I've always known that, you know, what we see going down on the world stage politically, that all of those public figures, they're just mouthpieces for who really holds the power, okay? So, you know, your side, my side. I mean, I've always known that that's something that really weakens us. What strengthens us is the points where we unify. So let's build on that, you see? This is the key. Let's build on that. Where do we connect? Where do we agree? Where do we unify? There's power in that. There's healing in that. And ultimately, there's celebration in that, because that is the way forward here. Okay. I mean, I know that people are really wanting sort of more interesting. Half of this deck is upright, half of it is in reverse. And just as I noticed it, we got the Chariot here. Yeah, you see, there is a way through, despite how much it may seem like the road is blocked. We're actually closer to finding a way through than ever before because of everything that's going down right now. Right, so see if you can set your sights a little higher, although I know it's hard. This is so wild because half of this deck is upright. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, it's a little slippery. I mean, I chose this deck because it is slippery. This is interesting. Got justice here, okay? And what wanted to come into view was this right here, the Ace of Pentacles. And I know that this is something that people are really worried about right now, you know? They want to believe, you know, in this vision for the future with that Pisces North Node energy there. They want to believe in a sense of humanitarianism, but they're not seeing justice. They're not seeing justice, but see, the opportunity for justice is there, but it requires us to move into that position of alchemy. And this requires us to be able to take action and to be torch bearers, to hold our power as individuals wisely by bringing it together collectively with others. And this is what seeds the future and seeds the balance of humanity as a whole. But currently we're operating within a structure where there's a lot of inequity. There's the haves, there's the have-nots, there's justice for some, the few that hold all the assets, the few that hold all of the worldly power, and the rest of us are supposed to be content being in this position of servitude. And this is what's shifting. We should be very grateful for this. There's going to be a lot more that's coming out around this, a lot more news coming out around this over the next couple of months here. Do pay attention. I think that you'll probably be feeling a lot of stress around your basic day-to-day affairs, your basic security, food, shelter, what's ahead for my children. You know, these are going to be concerns that you're going to be focused on. I think at this time, it's really wise for everybody to focus on their health, okay? Health is your wealth at this time because you need to have longevity for the road ahead. Stress management is absolutely part of this. Make sure you're getting good quality sleep. Make sure that you're keeping a nice balance between being informed and taking in so much that it just puts you in a space of constant anxiety and stress. You have to be able to balance this energy out. Make sure that you're being very mindful about how you're spending your time. Create space for productivity where you can feel like you are having some kind of progression in your day-to-day material reality, but also create that space to dream of a better way forward for yourself and to also consider what role are you to play in moving in this expansion, because everybody's purpose is waking up at this time. But I think largely this is where people are going to be feeling this on a mundane level. They're going to be noticing the inequities. They're going to be noticing that, hey, you know, we were promised justice. We were promised that certain information was going to come to light. And now there's this big cover-up energy around this. We see that there's rules for some, and then there's rules for the rest of us. And it's not fair. It's an inequity. It's an injustice, and this needs to be rectified. But see, once you recognize what the issue is, and once you see how corrupt something has become, that's when you actually have a chance to transform it. But first, there has to be the great unveiling. Okay? Now is not the time to be splashing your money around. Now is not the time to be overly indulgent. Now is the time to be more practical. This is something that people do need to have awareness around at this time, because we're not just in this for a little stint here. This is the long haul. We have to remember Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. Okay. This is major birthing pains. So nothing is staying the same. Nothing is staying the same. And yes, you do need to pay attention to your foundation here. And it begins with your health. And when I'm speaking of your health, I mean your physical health. I also mean your mental health, your emotional health, okay? So if you can invest energy in making sure you're solid and that you're taking care of the basic foundational matters as best you can, you'll be better able to weather the changes that come up ahead. No matter how many times I try to turn this around, this deck is like some of the cards are turned upright and some of them are turned the other direction. So I think it's supposed to be this way. It's like, I feel that's really speaking to the energy that no matter how much you think you have a grasp on this situation or you got it all figured out, or if you think that there's a way that you can bypass this experience, you can't. None of us can. We're all in it together. And this is the work of Virgo in the South Node and Pisces in the North Node here. Before we can come to that place of self-awareness, before we can have the light of wisdom shine from within us that can only be cultivated through self-knowledge, certain secrets have to come to light. And that also includes power structures that have been operating behind the scenes. Okay? A lot coming forward here. And this energy is just absolutely 100% refusing to be read on a mundane level because nothing is mundane right now. It's all quite meaningful. So I think I'm not even going to attempt that, Gemini. I know this was going to be the continuation of your download for your solar return, but we have to understand that nothing about the Gemini energy is going to be operating within the realm of normalcy at this time. Nothing is mundane. It's all meaningful. It's all significant. Now, this is interesting because I just lifted up that high priestess, right? And there's something that's hidden behind the high priestess. So let's see what's hidden behind the high priestess. The Empress. Okay, so do you see? Do you see? What's concealed behind everything that's coming to light right now is that hope. It's the hope of the Aquarian age. It's the growth. It's this dawning of a new era where we can rewild. We can rewild the future. And that's what's really needed, is to get back to the roots of things. Before there was this cry for advancement and all the advantages it brings to society. And sure, there are some advantages that it brings, but there's also a lot that has put us at a disadvantage here. It's like reclaiming the land. I feel that pretty strongly. And behind that, look at that. And that is the true fulfillment. That's the true fulfillment that we're aiming for here. So even within what's concealed or what feels a bit nefarious, there is hope here for something that provides growth for one and all here. All right. And what's behind this Hermit energy, which represents the South Node? See? Thank you. Let's enjoy the world of tarot. Yes, let's celebrate what's fixed, going into that state of mutability where it's starting to transform, where it's starting to shift. And I do think the fixed signs will feel this pretty strongly. I mean, I'm actually really grateful that Uranus is in Gemini and that we get a preview of this energy because it's very different than where it's been in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign. Taurus is not comfortable with change. The fixed signs in general are not comfortable with change. And yet there's that clue that what is fixed is coming undone. And we should be grateful for this because it is what gives us a way through moving forward here. But it does show us moving out of what we've considered safe spaces, but those safe spaces are illusory. Safe spaces are illusory. And though that may be something that provokes a little bit of a fear response in people when they confront that truth, the reality is, once you make peace with that there truly are no safe spaces, then it opens up infinite possibility for what can go down here. And it also opens up your perspective about your own limitations. And once we get to that point, there's a lot that we can push through that's currently holding us back. People are resisting this right now, though, with a uterus with feet in reverse. They're resisting moving into this rebirth energy because they're feeling like they got played like pawns here. They feel like, there's secret orders here that are steering the vision, steering the way forward, and that we don't have any control to shift this, but we do. The biggest illusion, it's also the greatest source of manipulation, is that we don't have any power, that only these positions that are thrust on the worldwide stage as being, the ones who hold the power, are what kind of keep us in line. But see, even though you don't think that you have a clue about how we can transform this situation, if you really drop in and activate your self-awareness, you'll understand that the only thing holding up the new beginning is our devotion to this idea that those in charge are the ones in charge. They're the 1%. The rest of us are the 99%. I mean, the reality is people are starting to recognize that what's been falsely presented as having the power in the situation, having everything under control, will keep all of you safe, they're keeping you in line. It's like, it's an infinite cosmic mess. It's all coming undone. And why is it coming undone? It's coming undone because everybody's saying, no, it's bullshit. No, we're not buying it. We're not going to buy it, and we're not going to let up. And that is what's not only creating the disruption, but it's actually what's creating the new road forward here. Okay? It's really interesting energy right now, but we got to keep on pressing on, okay? Because we're in this for the long haul. And I think the most difficult thing that people need to make peace with right now is nothing is ever going to go back to the way it was before 2020. It's just not. And if you need to give yourself an opportunity to mourn that, to really recognize that those days are not returning, let yourself do that. Let yourself, have the space to come undone around that, to feel frustrated with it, to be angry about it, to release your emotions around it. But no matter how much you may wish and hope that you could transport yourself back to the days before everything went down and the world went through that initial seismic shift in 2020, it's something that needs to be made peace with. It needs to be made peace with, because nothing is going back the same. It's not. And in fact, this is an energy that we're moving through right now that's only going to continue to amplify. And I have to tell you, man, it's really hard sometimes to sit here and tap into the energy and do readings and talk about mundane stuff, because nothing's mundane right now. It's just not. And that's part of the reason why I enjoy doing the quest reads, and I enjoy bringing in those aspects, and we like to talk about that wizard shit here, because people need a little bit of that to sort of cope, to cope with everything that's happening here, you know? But any sort of like base dramas that you're dealing with in your life, like he said, she said crap, this kind of stuff, jockeying for position, in competition, all this energy. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are people even I don't even understand how people can even be drawn to that. As soon as I come across stuff like that in my feed, I have to unplug from it because it's like so out of touch. It's so out of touch. It's so unaware, Yeah, future not found. You're not going to gain any clarity by looking at stuff through that lens, right? It's definitely time to like shift the focus. And I'm just not feeling like, I'm not feeling like playing that game myself as a reader. I can't. It's pointless. It feeds sort of that sense of complacency that keeps people dull and senseless and plugged into stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day, wasting their life force, wasting their potential to activate change, not only in their own lives, but in the world. It's just, I can't be an active participant in that. And I think that's a question that a lot of people are going to have to start asking themselves about what am I participating in? What am I contributing to? And I know that there's a lot of ugly stuff coming to light, and there's a lot of people that are, pointing fingers even in relation to that. And then there's also a lot of people who are just being quiet. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to bring anything up. I personally dealt with this myself on Facebook. There's a reason why I'm not on Facebook, because I brought up this issue that's going down on the worldwide stage right now. I was talking about the missing children. And let me tell you something. There's some real ugly stuff that went down and came to light. And you can turn a blind eye to stuff, and you can not get involved, and you can keep silent, and you can, not speak up or not do your part. But complicity is an equal participant in these atrocities. It's the reality. And it's really gotten to this point in society where you can't do that anymore. You just can't. If you're complicit, if you're not raising your voice in objection, if you're not doing your part to try to shift this, you're part of it. You're part of it. You're part of burning the bridge to the future, because you're contributing in keeping these matters that need to be brought to light concealed. Because that's what they want. They want everybody to toe the line, keep their mouth shut, do as you're told, It needs to be flushed. All this, my side, your side, it's the Dems, it's the Republicans, it's Trump, it's Obama, it's this, it's that, it's all nonsense. Pizzagate, it's all interconnected. It's all the same head of the same serpent. It's that Leviathan energy, and it's coming to the surface to swallow whole all that has become corrupt. And time's ticking, and they know it, because there's records of these atrocities, and they know they are so effing effed. And as long as people keep talking about it, as long as people refuse to shut up, the more the transformation takes hold, the more other people feel safe in coming forward and raising their voice in objection too. And it's happening. You see it. The lights are coming on in the room. The lights are coming on in the room. I'm watching it. Go hang out in the comments section on some of these, news channels. Notice what's going down in the comments section. People are refusing to let this go. Good thing. We need this. As uncomfortable as it is to have what's hidden surface here, have what's hidden come to light, it's needed so we can flesh it and elevate beyond it, okay? More of this is going to come out. Now, we have to talk about it because with Pluto in Aquarius in tandem, okay, with Uranus and Gemini, which is about this shift in technology and this shift in communication and a lot of expansion happening there. We have to remember with Pluto in Aquarius, there's also the piece of the clampdown, the censorship, the trying to silence the forces and powers that be within these power structures, okay, that are generating chaos and disorder, okay? Why are they doing that? All right, this is another piece of the puzzle, and I haven't really seen people talking about this a whole lot just yet, so I'm going to bring it in, all right? People may wonder, like, why are certain key pieces of information that were promised being withheld? Why are files being withheld? Why is there the censorship around this? Why is the cover-up around this? We have to recognize that sometimes these things are done, okay? This secrecy is put on display, okay, to stir up the masses, to generate a little chaos and disorder. Why? So then they can have an excuse to clamp down. And get everybody in line. Oh, here we come to save the day. Because if we don't take measures to bring you all in line now, oh, there's going to be nothing but chaos and disorder. And that's when you'll get the news starting to put out more about things like rioting and all this dissension. And that makes a lot of people who are just starting to see just how effed it is get very scared. And then they'll vilify those who are speaking up. Then they become part of the machine, right? So these are things that we need to be aware of. So again, it's about being smart about how you move forward. It is about being smart about how you communicate about these things. This is why I brought this stuff in before. It's about approaching these kind of communications in a very creative way that's unifying and doesn't sort of progress things too rapidly before proper foundations are laid. Let's just say that, okay? And yes, we're all feeling the heat. But as much as we're feeling the heat, those that are in positions of power in the world, oh, they're really feeling it right now. Because they're starting to see something's going out of control. We have to understand, though, with Pluto and Aquarius, where things go out of control, the efforts to control, especially with Uranus in Gemini, through communications, through the communication sector, through surveillance, through things like that, are going to be exercising more force, all right? Let me see what else wants to come in here around this. I mean, Gemini. I don't know what else to say. It really is a collective read. Okay, I mean, you're leading this charge. I think just tapping into this energy will show you sort of like what you're navigating at this time, what's going to be coming up for you. Yeah, I mean, there's all this talk about freedom, right? Land of the free, home of the brave, but only if you're docile. Only if you're docile. Only if you revere your chains. You know, then you're free. And so this means that before we can advance, we got to dig up those old goats. We got to dig up the stuff that they buried and bring it to light. Because there's people here who have been talking about y'all get a share of the pie, but the reality is they're holding the whole pie. There's a lot of greed that is being exposed here. And there's really this desire to bring an end to this system of things, the way things have functioned, because it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And it's becoming impossible to ignore. Impossible to ignore. I mean, it's stinking up the whole place. Out of the deck here. See what we got. So again, I go back to this. What can you do? What do you need to focus on at this time? What's going to be going on for Gemini at this time? And not just you, Gemini, but for the collective as a whole. On a mundane level, build your resilience. Exercise your power in a wise way. Make sure that you are mindful of using your power with wisdom. Don't contribute to the corruption. Use your voice. Now is a wonderful time for people to bring their voice forward in whatever way you feel compelled to. Now is a wonderful time to get in the game, man. Get up to bat. Take part in those conversations. The numbers of people speaking up is growing exponentially to the more that people are willing to jump into those comment sections or put their voice out there or speak up about what's going on. It's really starting to see the future. And it's also giving a strength of resolve to the people that, hey, there's other people that are willing to take a stand for this. And that's exactly what we've needed, as disruptive as it may seem. So we know with Uranus that there's a lot of unpredictability. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of left field. But what also comes in with Uranus are wild gifts and blessings that can only be obtained if you push the envelope a little bit, if you hedge your bets a bit. And so, again, on a mundane level, cultivate your resilience. And for me, this is really just coming through as make sure that you're stable. You know what I'm saying? You're stable. Make sure that you have full agency of your mind. Free your mind from the influence of others who just want you to parrot a certain narrative, right? Take back your own freedom of thought. Flush the old BS and really allow yourself to ask yourself, what do I really believe? How do I see things? And be brave enough to put your thoughts out there. Bring your voice into the mix. It's also about freeing yourself emotionally from stuff that, quite frankly, just doesn't deserve your time, care, and attention. You don't need to focus your attention and your awareness around petty people and what they may be up to and what are these karmics doing over there. I mean, all this crap. It's crap. It's crap. It's distractionary. It's a waste of your time. It's It's completely siphoning your emotional intelligence. This is about really taking back your emotional authority as well. If you're getting all like wrapped up and fueled by the drama of what so-and-so is saying about you, or the gossip mill, or any of this kind of nonsense, this little cliquish, like petty shit that some people are so tapped into and fixated on. And I know they're tapped into it and fixated on it because you see it. It's all over YouTube. Just look at the tarot community. Just look at the types of readings out there. Just look at what is dominating the algorithm. It's all this petty stuff. I don't care what so-and-so thinks about me personally. I know who I am. I know the truth of who I am. And other people who are aware, they can recognize real. Real recognizes real, okay? And if you're allowing yourself to get all fixated on that, like, oh, who's going to get their karma for doing this or that? It's dumbing you down. It's weakening you. We need to shift this, man. And it's also a call to those of us who are out there as readers, who are reading the energy, to also have integrity, to speak on these things. There's a reason why a lot of readers are talking about, this energy is hard to read right now. It's like, because it can't fit within that framework of that petty stuff. Nothing is worth that attention right now. Nothing. I don't care what so-and-so is saying about you. You keep focusing on it. You keep talking about it. These stupid little petty dramas that are playing out in people's lives that don't matter at the end of the day. Who cares what those people think about you? Who cares what's going to happen to them? You should be caring about your own life, invested in your own life, transforming your own life. Make your life matter. Don't give away your inner authority to somebody else's judgments about you. Live in your truth. Represent your truth. And real will be able to recognize real. And that energy, starve it. Don't feed it, starve it. Stop giving it so much clout. Stop giving it so much credence. Stop giving it so much attention. Even if people just began there, that starts to shift the collective consciousness. Every light that comes on in the room, on a conscious level, shifts the collective consciousness. You may say, I'm just one person. What difference does it make? It makes all the difference in the world. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. That's happening right now. It's going down online right now. We're seeing it. One person shining the light. One person bringing their truth forward. One person brave enough to put it out there. Makes another person feel safe to do it. And then another, and then another, and then another. And that's how we get all the lights to come on in the room. So stop worrying about this stuff. About people who are doing things behind the scenes and, who's working who and who's, talking about you behind your back. And if you know that you're sitting at tables where people are doing you dirty, where as soon as you get up, they're going to be having your name in their mouth and they're going to be talking shit about you, why are you still sitting at those tables? And if you're sitting at tables where you hear people speaking ill on others and engaging in this, you being complicit and not doing anything about that, continuing to break bread with these people, you're just like them. You're just like them. You're no better. People really need to get the memo with that, about this quality of complicity. Just because you're not saying it doesn't mean that you're not part of that. And that's also what's going on a macrocosmic level right now. Just because you didn't do it doesn't mean that you're not at all responsible if you keep your mouth shut, if you don't stand up against that. It's a checkpoint for a lot of people about your integrity and if you really have what it takes to rise to the challenge that's being put before us. We've been here before and we failed and we could fail again. Nothing is guaranteed. People talk about the golden age, the age of Aquarius. It's a possibility, but so is destruction. What role do you want to play? It's important. It's important. And especially in relation to this issue and the children, especially those of you who are parents. I mean, look at your own child. What if it was your child? You know? Yeah. You know, stop supporting. Stop supporting these businesses, these people that feed into that agenda. Stop supporting them. Stop supporting them. I mean, I reported stuff on Facebook, and I was told, I know that you will find this highly upsetting, but this does not go against our community standards. And people still support it. Still put, money in their pockets, still participate. I mean, check what you align yourself with. Check what you align yourself with. I don't know what else to say. This isn't what I was planning on doing with this at all, but it's what wanted to come through. I can't talk about mundane things. I just can't. I just can't. And I know what I went through when I raised my voice. And even people who witnessed it, you don't even know the half. You don't even know the half. But wrong is wrong. And I refuse to be complicit with evil.